Right now, beneath the polar ice cap, 134 submariners are fighting a battle the Navy doesn't talk about. It's not against enemy ships or foreign navies. It's against their own biology. But none of that tech solves the real problem. How do you stay human when everything around you is designed to make you a machine? Let's start with something the Navy doesn't advertise in their recruitment videos. A Virginia-class attack submarine carries 135 crew members, but has exactly 94 sleeping spaces. The math doesn't work because it's not supposed to. Hot racking means you share a bed with two other sailors you might never meet face to face. You work opposite shifts. When you climb into the rack, the sheets still hold warmth from the guy who just left. His smell lingers on the pillow. Sometimes you find things he forgot. A picture that slipped from the bulkhead. A letter half written. One sailor described it as sleeping in someone else's ghost. The bunks themselves are coffins with curtains. 72 inches long, 24 inches wide, maybe 30 inches of vertical space if you're lucky. A reading light that flickers. A ventilation duct that blows stale air directly into your face. That's home for 90 days. But wait, here's what breaks people's minds. You can't toss and turn. There's no room. You can't stretch. You can't roll over without hitting metal on 3 sides. Your body learns to sleep in a single position for 6 hours straight, completely motionless, like a corpse. New submariners take weeks to master this. They lie awake listening to the boat's mechanical symphony. The ventilation hums at 220 hertz. The reactor coolant pumps at 180 hertz. The torpedo tube hydraulics cycling every 47 seconds. Veterans don't hear it anymore. Their brains adapted, filtering out the constant noise until they can't sleep without it. One retired submariner installed speakers in his bedroom that played submarine sounds because natural silence gave him anxiety attacks. The psychological trick they never teach in training is that submariners don't really sleep, they crash. Yes, the ability to lose consciousness within 60 seconds of closing your eyes, sleep exactly 6 hours, and wake up fully functional without grogginess or transition time. It's not natural. It's a survival adaptation your brain develops after realizing there's no other option. But sleep deprivation becomes a weapon the submarine itself uses against you. Because even with hot racking, there aren't enough hours. Someone gets sick, you cover their watch. Equipment fails, you stay late. The boat goes to battle stations, sleep doesn't exist. Some deployments see sailors running on 3 hours of sleep for weeks straight. Their eyes develop this 1,000-yard stare. They function on autopilot, performing complex technical tasks while their conscious mind barely exists. The Navy monitors this with cognitive tests. Reaction times, decision-making accuracy. When performance drops below acceptable thresholds, they force mandatory rest periods, because mistakes on a nuclear submarine don't get second chances. Now, the kitchen is where life underwater gets genuinely strange. 3 cooks, 134 sailors, 4 complete meals every single day. The galley measures 140 square feet. That's smaller than most people's bathrooms. Inside this impossible space, culinary wizards create breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the most important meal nobody talks about. Midrats. Midnight rations aren't leftovers. They're a calculated psychological operation disguised as food. Sailors coming off 6-hour watches are mentally destroyed. They've been monitoring sonar contacts or managing reactor temperatures while their brains scream for stimulation their environment can't provide. Feed them well, they recover. Feed them garbage. People make catastrophic errors at 2 a.m. hours when nobody's watching closely. So Midrats becomes this bizarre culinary competition. Cooks prepare completely fresh food at midnight. Steaks, freshly baked bread, desserts made from scratch at midnight. On a submarine, 400 feet underwater. The supply chain behind this is absolutely insane. Before deployment, supply officers calculate consumption rates for 135 people over 90 days, then add 30% safety margin. That's 22,000 pounds of food. 11 tons of groceries loaded through hatches barely wide enough for a person. But we all know submarines weren't designed with pantries. So food goes everywhere. Canned vegetables stack in the torpedo room between Mark 48 torpedoes. Boxes of cereal get strapped to the overhead in crew berthing. Frozen meat occupies every freezer space, including medical freezers originally meant for biological samples. For the first month, you navigate the boat by climbing over food. Passageways become obstacle courses. You walk sideways, duck under boxes, step over cases of soup. As supplies get consumed, the submarine physically expands. Spaces that were completely blocked suddenly become accessible. It's like watching the boat grow larger through reverse claustrophobia. Fresh food becomes a countdown timer, measuring how long you've been submerged. Milk disappears by day 12. Apples and oranges get rationed by week 3. Lettuce becomes a memory you can almost taste by day 21. After week 5, you're living entirely on canned, frozen, and shelf-stable food. But submarine cooks perform actual magic with few ingredients. Taco Tuesday happens without fail every single week. Pizza night is sacred. Everything's made from scratch. Dough hand-kneaded in a space where you can't fully extend your arms. Sauce simmered in pots balanced on stoves that rock with the boat's movement. Cheese is shredded by hand because there's no room for food processors. And somehow, the pizza tastes better than anything you'd order on land. There's this tradition on American submarines that reveals something profound about submarine culture. Every sailor's birthday gets recognized. It doesn't matter if you're the commanding officer or the newest sailor who qualified 3 days ago. You get a cake with your name on it. The crew's mess is where rank disappears. The captain stands in the same line as the youngest seaman. Everyone gets identical portions. Nobody receives special treatment. For 20 minutes during each meal, everyone is just a sailor eating submarine food. This sort of creates something rare in military culture. Actual equality is enforced by space constraints and tradition. But the psychological warfare of underwater isolation manifests in unexpected ways. 180 seconds. That's how long you get to shower. Not 180 seconds to get clean. 180 seconds total. Wet yourself, soap up, rinse off, get out. The water isn't hot. It's tepid recycled ocean water that's been desalinated 7 times and tastes faintly metallic if it accidentally hits your mouth. Let me be very clear that this is where privacy commits suicide. You strip down in a stall barely wider than your shoulders. The shower head hangs 6 inches from your face. The water pressure is pathetic. You're conscious of the fact that 40 other people are waiting for their turn, and if you take too long, everyone knows. Some submarines ration showers even more brutally. During ultra-quiet operations, when the boat is hunting or being hunted, showers stop completely because running water creates noise. Noise creates vibrations. Vibrations travel through water. And enemy sonar operators sitting 200 miles away can detect unusual acoustic patterns that don't match natural ocean sounds. One submarine crew reported going 28 days without showers during a surveillance mission near hostile waters. 28 days. The smell became so intense that sailors started sleeping with shirts over their faces. The Navy issues these industrial-strength body wipes, like baby wipes for adults who haven't showered in a week. Submariners develop this specific wiping technique. Pits, face, groin, feet. In that exact order, every time. Deodorant becomes a sort of currency more valuable than actual money. Guys bring 12 sticks for a 3-month deployment and trade them like contraband. 2 sticks of Old Spice for covering someone's watch. 1 stick of Degree for doing someone's laundry. Yeah, about that laundry. 2 washing machines. 134 people. Most submariners wear the same uniform for 7 days straight. The blue coveralls identify them as submarine qualified. They sleep in them, work in them, eat in them. By day 6, everyone smells like a combination of diesel fuel, cooking oil, and regret. Nobody complains. Because complaining about smell on a submarine is like complaining about sand at the beach. But what really tests these sailors isn't the physical discomfort. Nuclear reactor operations run 24 hours a day for the entire deployment. Someone is always monitoring coolant temperatures, neutron flux levels, steam pressure, electrical generation, always. The reactor doesn't sleep, so neither does the crew. Watch rotations typically run 6 hours on, 12 hours off. But that 12 hours off isn't rest time. It's qualification time, maintenance time, cleaning time, training time. New submariners spend that off time learning every system on the boat, the propulsion plant, the weapons systems, the navigation equipment, the emergency procedures, every backup system, every failure mode. Then they stand before qualification boards of senior personnel who interrogate them for hours. Not softball questions. They're actively looking for gaps in knowledge, hesitation, uncertainty. Because every crew member needs to be able to operate any system during emergencies when normal watch standards might be casualties. The qualification process to earn your dolphins, the submarine warfare insignia, typically takes 9 months of continuous study while simultaneously standing watches and performing your actual job. 9 months of sleeping 5 hours a night. 9 months of being quizzed randomly by senior sailors who want to see if you crack under pressure. And when you finally earn your dolphins, nobody congratulates you. They just nod. Because on submarines, you don't get praised for meeting the standard. You get accepted. Around day 60 underwater, something happens to your brain. Time starts feeling elastic. Days blur together because there's no sunrise, no sunset, no weather changes. Your circadian rhythm completely detaches from reality. You might wake up and genuinely not know if it's Tuesday or Saturday, if it's morning or evening. The only way to stay oriented is by obsessively checking the ship's clock. Some crews create artificial seasons. They adjust the temperature slightly every month. Lower it in winter, raise it in summer. Just enough variation to give brains something to track. Others mark time by food milestones. When fresh vegetables run out, that's one phase ending. When they start eating the emergency rations nobody likes, that's another phase beginning. What keeps submariners functional isn't Navy-mandated stress management programs or psychological training. It's each other. There's this unwritten rule where if someone is struggling, having a bad day, missing home too intensely, their shipmates notice. Without being asked, without making it obvious, someone sits next to them during a meal, starts a conversation about nothing important, just exist in their space. Because loneliness on a submarine isn't about being alone. You're never alone. You're surrounded by 133 other people. Loneliness is feeling isolated despite the proximity. Feeling like nobody understands what you're experiencing, even though everyone is experiencing the exact same thing. The brotherhood prevents that collapse. They cover for each other, make stupid jokes to break tension, remember small details about each other's lives, and ask follow-up questions weeks later. One crew had this tradition, where on day 70 of every deployment, they held a talent show. Guys would sing terribly, tell awful jokes, perform card tricks that never worked. It was objectively garbage entertainment. But it worked, because for 2 hours, they were just people being ridiculous together instead of weapons operators managing nuclear warheads. Right now, somewhere beneath the Pacific, submarine crews are showering in 3-minute intervals. They're sleeping in bunks still warm from the previous occupant. They're eating meals prepared in kitchens smaller than closets. They're breathing manufactured oxygen, drinking desalinated water, working jobs that never stop. And when they finally surface, when they finally see unfiltered sunlight and breathe unprocessed air, they'll spend 30 days with their families before volunteering to go back down. Because submarine service chooses you as much as you choose it. Now I want to hear from you. Could you handle 90 days underwater with 3-minute showers, hot racked bunks, and zero privacy? Be honest. Drop a comment below. If this gave you a new respect for submarine crews, hit that subscribe button for more stories like this. Then check out the next video here.